Today, I'm going to show you my entire YouTube setup in this one bag. When you're starting out, there are too many things to consider when it comes to deciding what gears to use for your YouTube channel. While there's no one-size-fits-all type of solution when it comes to this topic, I want to talk through the gears that I use and why I use them so you can make a decision on your YouTube setup. My name is June, and I'm a designer with 5 years of experience and studied fine arts in college with a healthy dose of video art classes. I've also now been posting videos on YouTube for just over a year, so I had some time to experiment and test out different setup for shooting YouTube videos. By the end of the video, you'll have a pretty good idea of what to look for your own YouTube setup. Let's dive right into it. Starting with the camera. I recently upgraded to Sony a6700 and I've been loving it. The biggest motivation for the upgrade was my interest in color grading. After all, I'm an artist at heart and I love everything color related. So when I started digging into cinematography, I became really interested in color grading and I wanted to experiment with shooting in log so I can have a better experience color grading. How many times have I said color grading already? I tried messing with the log setting with my Sony ZV-1F, which is more of a point and shoot camera, as well as my iPhone 15 Pro, but I felt like they were not powerful enough. They were grainy and didn't perform well in low light settings. And when I started color grading my videos, they just didn't look satisfying. The biggest issue with this was that I couldn't tell whether it was my lack of experience in color grading or the limitation of the gears I was using. I have to say, I'm so happy with my new upgrades so far. Here's a difference between videos I shot on Sony a6700, Sony ZV-1F, and my iPhone 15 Pro. For comparison, I shot all of them in log. As you can see here, the image shot with Alpha 6700 is a lot cleaner and sharper. What I also found is that when you shoot with Sony 6700, it actually helps save time because you don't have to edit and color grade as much to get the same result. Meaning it actually cuts your editing time by a lot once you figure out the basics and know what to do. Another major consideration for the upgrade for me personally was the weight of the camera. I'm a twig and I get tired very quickly. Carrying the camera was too exhausting for me, and it was actually one of the big reasons why I never picked up photography in college. I felt like DSLR cameras were too heavy. So trust me when I say this, going from filming on my iPhone to a larger DSLR took a major consideration on my part. So if you're a petite lady like myself, this might actually be a solid option for you. I talked enough about the camera body. Let's move on to the lenses. Currently in my bag, I have these two lenses, a Sony wide lens and a Tamron portrait lens. I actually think your lenses matter more than your camera. It determines the vibe, the perspective, and the variety of the scenes you capture. For example, a wide-angle lens can create a distorted view like fisheye effect and capture a wider area of the scene, while a portrait lens offers a more realistic and perspective view. Depending on your setup and your goals, you might want to switch out between these two lenses to tell your story. This is also a great way to add variety to your shot types. For most vloggers, wide-angle lens is a must-have because you usually don't have anyone else filming the scene for you, especially when you're filming with a handheld camera like I am right now. You definitely want to take advantage of a wide-angle lens. The last thing you want is talking to your camera for 20 minutes only to find out your face is cut off to the side or your subject is tilted to a weird corner on a scene and there's no wiggle room to crop or adjust in post-production. Portrait lens is more of a standard lens. You're probably more used to seeing videos shot on portrait lenses because it looks the most natural. For me personally, I like to use portrait lenses when I shoot landscape or when I'm filming other people doing stuff, because I'm not limited by the length of my arm and I can control much better how close or far I am from the subject. I also like to use this lens when I'm shooting on a tripod like I am right now. So generally speaking, I prefer portrait lenses when I have just a little more time to properly set up the scene. I know there are so many other reasons to use portrait lens versus wide lens, but these are just my personal preferences for when to use what lens, so just take it with a grain of salt. Between the two of these lens types, if you're a vlogger and you have a tight budget and you can only choose one of the lenses to start with, then I highly recommend starting with a wide lens first. Next in my bags are ND filters, and honestly, I wish I knew about these films sooner. These are essentially sunglasses for your camera. And once you see the difference, once you see what these baddies can do, I guarantee you, you can never go back to not using them. It's especially helpful when you film during the day in natural light. When you have a studio light setup where you can control the strength of the light, the angle of the light, and all things light related, it doesn't really matter as much. But once you start taking your camera outside of the house with you, you're definitely going to take one of these with you. You probably notice when you shoot videos on a bright sunny day, the brightest part of the video gets all blown over in exposure. And it creates this unpleasant effect where everything is this cold, dry, white color all over. Well, you don't have to worry anymore because you know better to use ND filters now. If you're shooting on your iPhone or Android, there are ND filters available for your mobile devices as well. When shooting in log, there's also certain limitations with the camera setting you can use to manipulate the light. Without getting too technical, you have to maintain certain shutter speed for your FPS, which stands for frames per second. So for most people, your ideal setting for a YouTube video would be 24 FPS and 1/50 shutter speed, or 30 FPS and 1/60 shutter speed. Meaning you can't really manipulate your shutter speed to control exposure. If you want a deeper dive into this topic, please let me know in the comment below. I'm more than happy to do another one. But essentially what I'm getting at is that when you're shooting in these settings, ND filters essentially becomes one of the few ways you can control light. So next time you have a shoot planned on a bright sunny day, consider using one of these. Next item I have in my bag is this gimbal. I keep this gimbal whenever I need something quick. I still film a good amount of videos on my iPhone. It's light and it's convenient. It's hard to pass up on it. This DJI gimbal is also great at capturing stabilized image. So it's great when you're filming and you're talking while walking, or you're just generally moving around a lot. This is a great tool to have. And for something like a YouTube video, you don't really need a crazy set of, cinematic level professional gears. So anytime you need to capture something really quick on your iPhone, it's always a good idea to have one of these handy with you. Last but not least, mic. I use DJI Mic 2. This is the second mic I ever used, and I have never looked back. The DJI Mic 2 is versatile, it's light, it comes with 2 transmitters, it's great when you're filming out and about, it's great when you're shooting in a studio like this. You just can't really go wrong with these. There are cheaper alternatives like this $20 mic on Amazon. I had one of these, not this exact brand, but I had one of these like cheaper mic that I could get my hands on through Amazon. I don't know if it was just my personal experience, but after shooting about 2 or 3 videos, they basically broke and didn't work anymore. So I didn't want to keep buying new $20 mic and end up wasting the same amount of money. So at that point, I made the decision to upgrade to DJI Mic 2. I know there are DJI Mic 3 in the market now, but there are some controversial debate online about whether it's as nice of a mic as DJI Mic 2 because it doesn't come with the hook for lavalier mic. It's the one I'm using right here. It's a little tiny mic, that you connect to your transmitter so you can be a little more sneaky with it. With the latest video trends on social media, I think it's actually perfectly okay to not use a lavalier mic because a lot of people just hold their transmitter in their hand and talk to it. It's video aesthetic, visual trend right now on social media. So you don't necessarily have to get a lavalier mic. I personally got this one because I just don't like how heavy it is when I attach it to my t-shirt, and a lot of the times it just drags down my t-shirt and it looks kind of funky. So those are some of the reasons I opted to getting an additional lavalier mic to attach to my DJI Mic 2 transmitter. But ultimately, it's up to you to decide. I don't think you will regret investing in a nice microphone. There are different types of microphone you can get, like the boom mic. I also have this Blue Yeti. I actually never make videos with this one. I initially got this mic secondhand from my friend because I'm an avid gamer and I just wanted crisp voice quality when I'm communicating with my friends on Discord. So this has always stayed attached to my PC and I never used it for content creation. But some people also use this type of mic, especially when you do a lot of talking head videos, sitting at a desk, you're not moving around too much, talking directly to the camera. Just like anything else that I'm introducing in this YouTube setup video, these are things that work for me. But again, if you are a vlogger, you plan on filming a lot of scenes on the go and you're constantly moving, you're capturing more dynamic scenes, then I would consider getting one of these. There's also a lot of echo in my room. I don't have any furniture to absorb the echo. I don't have one of those acoustic sound panels that you can install on your walls. So for the echo, I actually use this software called Clear. I will also include the link in the description to get this software. It's not free, but for me personally, I found it really, really useful, easier to use than manipulating all the audio settings in an editing software. I'd also add that none of the products mentioned in my video is sponsored. So these are all real products that I bought with my own money and that I use on a day-to-day basis. Now that was my entire YouTube setup in one bag. I recently hit 500 subscribers. And it may seem small to some of you, but to me, I never felt more accomplished in my life. When I posted my Just Start Vlogging video recently, I actually got a lot of comments from people wanting more of the same type of videos, and a lot of people also found the content of that video very helpful. So as a way to say thank you, I decided to pivot a little bit and honor what people actually wanted to see and share more of my tips and tricks videos when it comes to how to do all things content creation. Hopefully that is helpful to everyone who's supported me. You guys mean the world to me. As always, please consider liking this video and subscribing to my channel. As a small channel, they really do go a long way. With that said, thank you again, and I'll see you guys in the next video.